Yes, Assalamualaikum and welcome back to another video by Sir Shazwan. Welcome to week 9. This is already crunch time, so hopefully everyone will be prepared for what's to come, okay? Today we'll be looking at conflict, solutions and recommendations. This is just like another enhancement to what you already know, okay? This is for to help you with your third and fourth assessment, which is coming by soon. All right. So without further ado, let's go. Okay. Right. So this lesson will cover the different types of conflicts at workplace and how to solve it. We'll be also looking at how to present proposals or recommendations to workplace conflicts through group discussion. And the third one is how to conduct literature search. Because when you want to present a proposal or recommendations, you must have like support from other materials so that you will be able to show the necessity why the problem is important enough to be solved as soon as possible. Okay, first off, managing conflicts at workplace. So, in while working with other people with in the workplace, there are bound to be conflicts, problems, issues. So, we as workers we need to be able to manage those conflicts so that it won't hinder our work or it may cause other problems. Okay. Now, let's look at the types of conflicts. So generally, there are three types of conflicts that usually arise in the workplace: customer complaints, conflicts or problem among colleagues, and safety threat. So we'll be looking at through the three types of conflicts so that you'll be understand the what makes these kinds of conflicts. For example, what is a customer complaints? What is conflicts or problems among colleagues? And what is safety threat? Okay. Now, first, customer complaints. A complaint is made by a customer or a guest because they are dissatisfied. Dissatisfied. Okay. Causes may be related to a business failing to keep a promise, like Shopee, maybe the seller in Shopee, you buy something, that then uh, a different thing comes. That means that the business failed to keep their promise. They want to sell you. You want to buy A, you get B. So what do? You complain. You 1 star, very bad service. Buy A get B, something like that. So that is the first regular type of complaints that people always use. Companies always get. Okay. Service and or products not meeting needs, wants, or expectations. That is another issue that comes from customer complaints. For example, you buy this thing, you expect this to be able to clean this. So, when it doesn't keep up to the promise, maybe it doesn't fulfill your expectation, then you will be pissed. No, you will be dissatisfied. So you make complaints. All right. Right then, we have actions of others, staffs or patrons in the business. For example, maybe you are a restaurant owner. Maybe your staffs have been rude to the customers. Maybe they throw. Maybe they just put the food like down, pang, something like that. Boom, bam, bam, bam in front of the customers, cooking like crazy, gitu, gang, gang at the back. Or maybe the customers themselves are being rude or something. Example, maybe there are two groups. Like the first group are a family group. The second group is just a rowdy boys. They have been very rude, very loud, very naughty. So the group A maybe complain to the restaurant about it. So that is part of customer complaints. The level of service, good staff, insufficient staff, you get your food late or something. Okay. Product standards that do not match the statements or activities doesn't indah kabar rupa product standards, something like that. Okay. Processors long wait, unsafe, unhealthy. Sometimes they use process that they process the food not maybe unclear process, maybe unsafe, something like that. Information given sometimes it be inefficient, incomplete, incorrect. Custom people always complains about something. Maybe because of the information, maybe the process, the product standards, level of service. Those are the things. Charge, overcharge, hidden fees. Those can be part of customer complaints. Condition of the premise as well. Maybe you go into the public toilet, you see the toilet is very bad, very dirty, you complain. So these are some of the reasons why customer complains. Okay, this says it comes from dissatisfaction. Okay, how do you handle complaints? When dealing with a complaint, the objective is to convert a bad customer experience into a positive one. You want to say, or maybe the problem, you want to solve the problem. Maybe the customer problem, the family and the rowdy boys problem. Let's use that as an example. So maybe you want to convert them to a positive one, a bad experience into a positive experience. Maybe you can ask the boys to keep quiet, or like maybe the commander or something. You need to have solutions to handle the complaints. But remember, it is important to deal with complaint in a friendly, efficient, and thorough manner, characterized by sensitivity, courtesy, and discretion. Okay? You must be sensitive. Maybe they have some problems. Try to ask them first. Maybe but be cautious. Don't just get, hey, get out, like something like that. You are being so rude. You're being so problem. That it's not cautious. You must have some courtesy. Okay, and then you need to be discreet. Okay, do it with flair. Do it with sensitivity. Do it with cautiousness. Okay. Some of the ways to resolve complaints. For example, you introduce yourself. Then making an offer of assistance. You offer assistance you want to have. For example, when you are working in a salon, a saloon, or maybe like a boutique, you see the customer is looking for someone, or maybe looking for assistant, then you offer yourself to assist. Then you investigate the complaint. Ask, you listen, you try to identify what is the complaint about, why the complaint happens, and then you suggest or offer possible solutions to the uh, problems. Next one is the conflict with colleagues. It doesn't always the conflict doesn't always come from customer complaints, but sometimes they come from conflict with the colleagues. You are working with people. People have their own emotions. They have their own problems, situations. So conflict will happen. So some of the reasons of conflict with colleagues, some of them will be pressure of work. Maybe they have too much work to do, and then it pressured them to do work. So lack of poor communication. Sometimes you just don't know how to tell them that's a problem. That is a problem of lack of poor communication. Then prejudice. Maybe you are being biased towards some things. That is very bad. That is not supposed to be in a professional setting. Okay? Ineffective working procedure. Sometimes you work too little, you rest too much. Might be. We don't know. Okay? So the differences in opinions and beliefs also can cause conflict. So maybe you believe this, they believe this, and you guys cannot get along because of that. So that is a conflict with colleagues. Lack of effort by the team member, yes, maybe you have a passenger in your team, so that is lack of effort. The team member doesn't contribute, your work is being hindered, have obstacles to go through, and unfair treatment, like I said, biasness or something. So those are conflict with colleagues. How you need to prevent conflict from escalating, the conflict of the conflict from escalating. So you think carefully about the situation. Think about what is happening right now. Maybe you have an issue with a colleague. The colleague is very lazy or something. Maybe doesn't contribute to the work. So think carefully about the situation. Why? Maybe think about why the person is not contributing. Then plan and respond one where one is deemed is necessary. You plan and respond. You think that okay, for him to be able to continue work, you need to do something like this. You need to do something like that. You need to plan first. You think the necessary ways so that the person will be able to contribute. So then you do the conversation. You talk to the person as planned. Okay? Maybe you're not planning it. Maybe you plan it. Up to you. Okay? So you be prepared for feedback and be prepared to compromise. So feedback means that maybe the person tells you about the problem. Maybe you cannot work together in a team because you have a very like tight schedule to follow, whereas I'm more like a laid back a person. So that is the feedback from the second person in the conflict. So in compromising, you find win-win situation. For example, okay, maybe you're gonna work too fast. You can put in work in sections where the production or maybe something doesn't require fast action. That is how to compromise. You are providing situation where both party wins. Okay. And then remember, only involve management as a last resort. Meaning that you want to talk to the boss, talk to the upper team management, use it as a last resort. Solve the problem between you first. If you cannot solve it, then you go to the management. Okay? Oh, and threats to safety. Some you might be sometimes face situations where it is a threat to your safety. Some situations, such as people with guns or other weapons in banks, usually they are like attacked by robbers. They have guns, weapons, or something like that. So, or maybe where someone has already been injured by another person. Maybe they are fighting in their office. They have been using the furnitures or something. They injured someone. Uh, Third one, individuals who appearance or actions cause concern. For example, maybe someone who is not who is unidentifiable. Maybe someone you don't know. Maybe comes to the place that will cause concerns. Okay? People who are arguing can be a situation that poses threat to safety because sometimes the argument can escalate to be something bad. Next one, people who are reluctant to leave the premises when asked to do so, those so-called Karens in America or something like that, they believe they have the right to stay into the premise when they are within, when they really don't, when they need to leave when they're asked to. Yeah. People who are physically fighting, you can see that as very dangerous. People engaging in erratic or irrational behavior, some crazy people maybe come to the shop or something, and people who are harassing or intimidating others. Those are the threats to safety, which you can save by organized assistance. When organizing assistance to address threats to safety, you use common sense at all times. Try to think that your every action is important. Consider the consequences of your action. For example, if you do this, what will happen? If you do this, what will happen? you need to consider what will happen and then use common sense at all times. Okay, your brain is always working, so remember to use it. Okay, assistance may be obtained by contacting the supervisor, contacting the security, contacting the police. That is how you organize instead to help reduce the threat to your safety while working. Okay, so these are some of example of group discussion that you can look at or you want to practice, up to you. But this is the instructions. Maybe I'll ask you to do it lah, kan? If you are able to do it, then you will understand how the assessment will be. Okay. This is another exercise, and then another. Okay, this is an important part. Elements to consider when conducting the group discussion. So when you are doing a group discussion, there are some things that you have to take into consideration. That you have to think, you have to discuss about. Before you want to discuss about a group, before you want to do a group discussion, you have to discuss about the group discussion. Okay. Nah, make call. So during the group discussion, students should use appropriate language to open, hold, and close discussion. Look back on the previous lessons. There should be a lesson about this. So I hope you still remember. Yeah. Discuss appropriate topics of conversation. When you are doing a group discussion about work, talk about that particular topics that are appropriate to the situation. When you are in kedai mamak, it's okay. You want to discuss about anything else, about AWEX or anything. But when you are discussing with people who work with you in the workplace, discuss appropriate topics. Discuss handling job-related situations, okay? Related to the appropriate topics too. And the most important thing, when you do group discussion in the workplace, you are 100% always be talking about how to handle complaints, how to identify the problems and solution, how to provide recommendations and proposals. Those are the three main things that you usually always do when you do group discussion, because you want a contribution from others on how to solve a recurring issue. Okay, and then the last one, sustain and manage discussion. That is also have been discussed in the previous lesson. So use appropriate language to negotiate and conclude discussions. When you stop, you want to finish a discussion, don't you just that's all, thank you, goodbye. No, that is quite fast and good, but it's quite unprofessional. Okay. This one. State and justify points of view. Whenever you state or you give opinions, you need to justify why. Why do you say so? Because when you just state something, it doesn't mean a lot unless you can justify it. When you justify, you give sources, you give materials, you give proof. People will be able to understand you better. They will feel that you are crucial. Yeah, what your words mean something if you can provide justification and proof to what you are stating. Okay? And then express agreement and disagreement. That is also part of discussion. Whenever you agree something, you disagree, how do you express it? How do you use the words, the sentences? Okay. And then use appropriate expressions to make and respond to recommendations. Whether you agree with the recommendations, try to use appropriate expression. Like, I agree with you. I think that is the best way or something. Those are the appropriate expression to reply to something. Okay. Now, looking at this will be in the next video, okay? Because if I go through everything, then you guys will be dead, okay? So, thank you very much for listening to me. I'm Sir Shazwan. And that's all for today. Thank you.